Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the NHL DFS slate for Tuesday, November 15th. We got ourselves a 9-game slate here tonight where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays, and then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals, where you can see the Maple Leafs at Penguins are coming in at 7 goals. We got 4 games there at 6.5, and then the remaining 4 games all coming in at 6 goals even. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds, where you can see the Golden Knights, Panthers, and Devils are all sitting really nice on the money line, but we got a handful of games here that are projecting to be very close as well. With all that said, let's dive into a couple of my favorite line stacks here tonight, starting with that first line for the Vegas Golden Knights. We got Eichel centering Stevenson and Stone. This line has been awesome together. Really a lot of chemistry between these three we're seeing already. In fact, throughout the entire NHL, they rank second as a line in expected goals per 60. The three have combined for 13 goals, 17 assists, 30 points in just their last 10 games. Definitely have multiple point upside, and all three of these guys play up on the #1 power play, so it's a strongly correlated line as well, and they got a great matchup at home here tonight against the San Jose Sharks. And then another line stack I like here tonight is that first line for the Buffalo Sabres. We got Thompson centering Skinner and Tuck. Good to see these three put back together on that first line. We've seen the Sabres try to experiment with some different lines this year, as they should, being they're a young team, but this should be their first line. We saw them play together pretty much all of last year, and they had some really good chemistry together, and they got a great matchup at home here tonight against the Vancouver Canucks, who have allowed 4.06 goals per game this year, the third most in the NHL, and have the league's worst penalty kill, just hitting at a 61.8% rate. And again, it's another line stack here that's strongly correlated. Not only do they play big minutes together 5-on-5, but all three play up on that #1 power play as well. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, 2 things. Number 1, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I got hockey content coming out for you guys all year long. Number 2, want to give you guys a heads up in advance. I am going to be traveling starting this Thursday, heading back to Minnesota and actually to Winnipeg as well for a few days to watch some hockey. Essentially just going back for the holidays here, spending some time with my family during Thanksgiving. So I'm probably going to have a little different schedule. I will not have an NHL video out this Friday. It's okay though, because it's just a showdown slate, 1 game. I will not have an NHL video out next Friday either, because I'll be traveling all day back to Colorado. Unfortunately, that is a pretty big slate. I hate to miss it, but again, I want to give you guys a heads up in advance. For those of you who watch my NFL DFS videos, I'm still going to try and get that content out too, but due to the travel kind of restrictions, I'm going to have to play that by ear. So I'll keep you guys updated. Follow me on Twitter, follow me in the Discord, link in the description below, and I'll keep you guys up to date as much as possible. Alright, now diving into some of these individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards. First guy I got there is Sasha Barkov of the Florida Panthers. I feel like I haven't talked about him much this year, or that Florida team in general, but I do like the matchup at home here tonight against the Washington Capitals, who are still missing some big players, especially on the front end, and just beat up right now with all those injuries, and they've allowed 3.60 goals per game here over their past 5, 7th most in the NHL. Barkov's going to play up on that first line, plays on the #1 power play, should log around 21, 22 plus minutes here tonight, and a guy who has multiple point upside. I then got JT Miller there of the Vancouver Canucks, and kind of just like that game between the Canucks and Sabres in general tonight. Definitely some high-scoring shootout potential in that one. And there's a number of different routes that we could go on the Vancouver side. I like Elias Pettersson, I like Bo Horvat, but JT Miller is sitting pretty nice here at $6,100. I can't believe this guy was in the 4K range at all this year, but he was. He's got 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points here in his past 10. I would like him to shoot the puck a little bit more, but when he does shoot the puck, he's very efficient. He's going to play up on that first line, plays on the #1 power play, and catches a Sabres team here tonight who has really started to slump over their past 5 games, losing all 5 of those games while allowing 4.80 goals per game, the most in the NHL during that stretch, and they've really struggled on the penalty kill as well, just hitting at a 64.3% rate. Next, I got Brian Rust there of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who hasn't been the most productive player here as of late, but he's still playing up on that first line with Crosby and Gensel. plays on that number 1 power play, and he actually leads this Penguins team in expected goals this year, so some positive regression should be coming his way, especially considering who he's playing with. Now, they play the Toronto Maple Leafs at home here tonight, and I kind of like that because they're going to be starting Matt Murray, who's playing in his first game here since October 12th after sustaining a groin injury, and he was not very good in his first game, allowing 4 goals on just 23 shots on net against Montreal Canadiens. Now, you could go with the revenge narrative here, Matt Murray playing against his former team, but he really hasn't been good ever since he left the Penguins, so I don't mind stacking up some of the Penguins here tonight. Jason Zucker's on fire along with Evgeny Malkin on that second line, but I really like the value that we got here with Brian Rust, again, being that he plays on that first line and number 1 power play. And now we're going to get into some of these 4K value plays here tonight. You know, there's a lot of value in the 4 to 5K range in general. DraftKings did price up the forwards in general as well. A lot of the top tier players are 7K or above, and they rightfully should be, but there's some nice value here on this slate as well. And one guy that stuck out to me was Brandon Hagel of the Tampa Bay Lightning. You know, again, this is a situational play just like Brian Rust. He plays up on that first line with Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point, and he's playing on the number 1 power play as well. He's got 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points here in his past 10 games, averaging around 12 DraftKings points per game, so he's definitely taken advantage of the opportunity of playing on that first line and number 1 power play. We then got Owen Tippett there, and hate to sound like a broken record, but similar situation, playing up on that first line with Kevin Hayes and Travis Konechny, and playing up on that number 1 power play. He's got a great matchup here tonight as well against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are not only missing Patrick Laine and Zach Werenski now, 2 of their better players. This is a team that's already struggled defensively this year, allowing 4.36 goals per game, the second most in the NHL. Now, Tippett has played 10 games this year. He did start the season on the IR. He's got 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points in those 10 games, but I really like the way he's been shooting the puck, and naturally, he is a sniper. He now has 3+ shots on net in 6 straight games. And then I got Lucas Raymond there of the Detroit Red Wings, and ownership is projecting to be very spread out here on this slate, but Tyler Bertuzzi is returning tonight for the Detroit Red Wings. He's in the 4K range, and I think a lot of people are going to focus in on that, when Lucas Raymond probably should be the focus. He's playing up on that first line in number 1 power play as well. Obviously in a great matchup here against the Anaheim Ducks, who have allowed 4.47 goals per game this year, the most in the NHL, a team that has really struggled on the penalty kill too, just hitting at a 64.3% rate. And Raymond quietly here has 6 goals in his past 8 games and sitting at a really nice price tag of $4,200. Now moving over here to the defenseman, first guy I got there is Rasmus Dahlin of the Buffalo Sabres. Like stacking him up on that number 1 power play for the Sabres because again, this Vancouver penalty kill has just been abysmal this year, and Dahlin is having himself a season. 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points through 14 games. 7 of those 17 points have come on the power play. He's playing around 26, 27 plus minutes per night, averaging around 4 shots on net per game, and averaging around 2 block shots per game as well. So not only is he getting on the score sheet on a really consistent basis, this is a guy who's racking up DraftKings points in a number of different ways, which has resulted in him averaging 19 DraftKings points per game this season. Now, I understand he's only played 4 games so far this year, but Aaron Ekblad of the Florida Panthers is usually a guy who floats in the 6K range and sometimes even in the 7K range, so we're getting him at a massive discount here of $5,000. It won't be long before his price starts to creep up again. As a guy who plays about 23, 24 plus minutes per night, plays on the number 1 power play, and plays on the penalty kill as well. Now, just like that game between the Vancouver Canucks and the Buffalo Sabres tonight, I have some intrigue in this game between the Ducks and the Red Wings. I think this could be another sloppy, high-scoring game that we see between these two teams, which is part of the reason why I like John Klingberg here. He hasn't been fantastic this year, but plays big minutes, about 22, 23 plus minutes per night, and plays up on that number 1 power play. Detroit has been mediocre at best on the penalty kill this year, hitting at a 78.3% rate. And at $4,200, it's a cheaper value defenseman play. I don't expect him to rack up a bunch of points by blocking shots or anything like that. We primarily need him to shoot the puck and get on the score sheet, but I think he could do that here tonight against this Red Wings team. And then I got Jake Bean there of the Columbus Blue Jackets, being that Zach Werenski is out for this season. We're seeing Jake Bean step into his role here, at least initially. He played 26 minutes in that game against Philadelphia, played 22 minutes last game against the New York Islanders, where he actually had 2 assists and 1 on the power play, and that's where he's playing right now, up on that number 1 power play in replacement of Zach Werenski. So at $3,200 here, this is a guy who's going to have all the opportunity in the world, albeit he doesn't play on the best team in the Columbus Blue Jackets. He does have a good matchup at home here tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. And then I got a couple of goaltenders there for you, higher priced and lower priced options. Some really solid goalie plays here on this slate though. I think there's some sneaky plays like UC Swaros of the Nashville Predators. Go look at his game log here on DraftKings. You're probably going to get -2 points or 25 points, and I don't mind that in my tournament. That's what we're kind of doing, gambling on those types of plays, right? So go take a look at that. Like I said, a lot of goalies to like here on this slate. But Logan Thompson, I am not afraid to pay up for him. Been awesome with the Vegas Golden Knights this year with an 8-2-0 record, a goals allowed average of 2.31, and a save percentage of .925 with 5.2 goals save above expected, which is the 9th best in the NHL. And then we got Jake Ottinger there at $7,200, albeit a tough matchup on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is far too cheap of a price tag in my opinion, considering the goaltender at hand. He's 6-2-0 so far this season with a goals allowed average of 1.80 and a save percentage of .938 with 9.6 goals save above expected. That's the 4th best in the NHL. And as always, going to wrap up this spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Mike Hoffman of the Montreal Canadiens, currently playing on that second line in number 2 power play. Has been shooting at a really high rate here as of late with 28 shots on net in his past 8 games. That's what he needs to be doing. He is naturally a good shooter, and I watched that game the other night between Montreal and Pittsburgh. Believe you me, this guy still has a fantastic shot, and he's got 4 goals here in his last 3 games. Now, Adam Henrique here, like I said, like that game between the Anaheim Ducks and Detroit Red Wings tonight. Henrique is currently playing up on that first line with Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry. Honestly, I don't mind that as a line stack here tonight. And Henrique has started to heat up here as of late with 5 goals in his last 5 games while playing around 18+ minutes per night. And then Emil Bemstrom there of the Columbus Blue Jackets was called up from the AHL 2 games ago, but he's getting time on that first line and number 2 power play. He's actually had 1 goal, 1 assist, 8 shots on net in his last 2 games. Being pretty productive considering the price here at $2,800. And to wrap up this video here, going to talk a little prize picks with you guys. For starters, if you have not signed up for prize picks yet and you've been watching this, want to get in on the action, I got a promo code that you should definitely be taking advantage of. When you sign up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. And the beautiful thing about Prize Picks is they match that deposit right away. You don't have to earn it back as a bonus like some of these other DFS sites. Not here. You put $100 in today, you'll see a $100 match deposit right off the bat, so you're essentially playing with house money or free money on your first set of picks. But again, you don't have to put $100 in either. You want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. They will match anything up to $100. Again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. With that being said, I do have 2 that are sticking out to me here as I record this morning. Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres over 3.5. Brandon Montour of the Florida Panthers over 2.5. But you guys know the plan here. I'm going to go through each of these picks individually, do my research, and then I'll let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video, and I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. And don't forget, I am posting these picks in my Discord channel. If you prefer to see those there, all you need to do is join with a link in the description below. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 9-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.